恭请大德圣听，为此法会，及一切众生，请转妙法轮，教导我们如何了生，脱死离苦得乐，殊真无生。Will the Shankar with great virtue, out of compassion, for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach us how to live suffering and attain bliss and end birth and death and quickly realize non-birth.
Sorry, I was muted. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. Namo sadanto sucheto ye alahati sanmyao sanputo che. 无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered, even in a billion eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. Namo, quelling disasters, lending life, Medicine Master Buddha. 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 Medicine Master does come one. 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 Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Rebel Master, and all good knowing advisors, Amitabha. Okay, let me get slides up to for today. Okay, I'm glad to see everyone back. Not everyone, but most of everyone back after such a long break. Today, we are going to explore. Oh, I have a question for y'all. Do the things we do in our dreams count as karma? Why dreams? Because that's one of the topics that we are exploring today. Because we have moved. Today we are moving to a new part of the sutra. I'm going to recite the sutra. I'm going to put my palms together. Moreover, if a person who suddenly has nightmares, sees ill omens, notices strange birds flocking together, or perceives many uncanny events in his dwelling, can worship and make offerings of many fine things to that world-honored one, Medicine Master Vaidurya like Tathagata, then the nightmares, ill omens, and inauspicious things will disappear and will no longer trouble him. Okay, so that's why I started with a question. Now, what's the question again? Hold on. Let me show you the question. Do the things we do in our dreams count as karma? All right. Anyone want to answer, or you have a question of your own? Anyone? While I try to drink some water. What do y'all think? No one dares try to answer. Okay, we're gonna find out. All right. Just let me pop a sweet in my mouth. Okay. So we're gonna look at nightmares, or rather, we look at dreams first. Okay, because before we can understand what nightmares are, I think we should also look at dreams. Okay, Miss Yap says manifestation of past karma. No. The question is, do the things we do in our dreams count as karma? Not what are dreams. Okay, but you still get half a point. All right. So first, we look at what Nagarjuna Bodhisattva has to say in his Shastra or commentary on the Mahaprajna Paramita Sutra. So he says there are 5 types of dreams. Okay. The first 3 actually have to do with the physical body, physical unbalance. So the first one is when the hot vapors predominate. One dreams a lot, one sees fire, yellow, and red. Okay. Okay, Candy says not counted. Okay, we'll see. We'll find out. So I guess when they say hot vapors predominate, in Chinese, when they say you're heaty, when you have a sore throat, when you have an ulcer in your mouth, what else? What else causes heatiness? It might be that. And then number 2 is when you are cold. All right, when the cold vapors predominate, you see especially water and white in your dreams. And number 3 is when the windy vapors predominate, you see particularly, you see birds. Yeah, birds and black color in your dreams. Okay. And then the other category of dreams, number 4, is when you think too much. When one has thought a lot and reflected well on what one has seen and heard, one sees all of that again in a dream. So sometimes, okay, the good or the positive side of this is when you practice so well. Okay, you practice so well, say you recite Amitabha's name, or you recite the Tape Cho, and then when you're dreaming, you find yourself reciting. Or when you encounter something scary in your dream, automatically you begin to chant. This falls into that category as well. So this includes false thinking. Okay, you think a lot, or you have a lot of stress and thinking of something, and in your dream, the thoughts continue. But also practice continues here. All right. And then number 1 is very interesting because the gods will use your dream to communicate to you, to teach about future events, or to talk about, to pass other messages to you. So number 5 is very interesting. We have some more later about number 5, because I know a lot of people are very interested in number 5. But then Nagarjuna Bodhisattva says these 5 types of dreams are all without reality. They are false visions. So there's a certain trueness to them, say for number 5. Okay. But from the perspective of the Dharma, especially if you compare it to awakening or the opening of wisdom, these are still considered false visions. So he says it is the same for people who are awake. Awake means right now, okay? We think we are awake, but from the perspective of the sages, actually we are not. We are as confused as we are sleeping. And you will figure this out when you finally, in your meditation, if you ever had a moment of stillness and you see through your bright nature, you will realize how upside down our daily lives are. Okay, all right. So he says, beings who are in the 5 destinies. What are the 5 destinies? These are the realms of rebirth. So it includes the hell realm, the hungry ghost realm, the animal realm, the human realm, and the deva realm, the realm of the gods. So he says, we see the self. This self is, I put it in inverted commas because it is what we think is the self. So it's the false self. So we see in 4 ways because of our material visions. You can, I don't really know what material visions are when he refers it here, but maybe you could say it's due to our mistaken understanding. It says, but when they have found the path and true wisdom has when they have found the path and true wisdom has awakened them, they know that the self has no reality. So this self that you think you are, okay, includes your body and your mind that you're using right now to think about the things that you're hearing. When you have a moment of clarity, a moment of total stillness, where you're not even awakened yet, you're not enlightened, but you access your eight consciousness, your pure, bright consciousness. Okay, you will realize how the self that you take to be is not the self. Okay, and for the first time in your life, all right, you will realize your I can't say who you really are. Okay, that I can put it that way. You will feel like yeah, you just feel like who you really are. You discover yourself. Yeah. Okay. I can't say your true self or self because in our confused state, we only make that more confused. You have to experience it to understand. Okay. All right. Now moving on. In the Shurangama Sutra, the Buddha says dreams are the tricks played by the 6 consciousness or the mind consciousness. It takes control of you and causes you to dream certain things. Oh, talking about dreaming certain things. Today we have 2 very nice stories. One of them is just after this. Okay, so lots of stories today. It says dreams happen when the mind consciousness goes awry. I mean, it goes mad. Whatever happens to you during the day or whatever experiences you encounter will affect the dreams you have at night. We mistakenly perceive sounds in our dreams, taking the sound of pounding rice, for example, to become something else, such as the striking of a drum or the ringing of a bell. Okay, now everyone ready for a story? This is a very interesting story. Shufu gave us this story during the 100-day chant session. Okay, if you've ever been to a chant session at City of 10,000 Buddhas during my time, now it's different, I think. During my time, you wake up at 2 in the first sit. No, not you wake up. The first sit is at 2 a.m. All right. So 2 a.m., you're sitting on your cushion, 1 hour, and then 20 minutes of walking. And then you go back and sit for another hour, and 20 minutes of walking, and then you don't have any breaks. The only break you have is during lunchtime. And yeah, I think during lunchtime, maybe a short afternoon break. Yeah, but most people, they don't take breaks, they just sit. And you sit 1 hour, walk 20 minutes, sit 1 hour, walk 20 minutes until midnight. So from midnight to the next sit, you have less than 2 hours to do whatever it is that you want to do. And then you go back again, like at 2 a.m. to go and sit. So can you imagine doing it for 3 weeks? I can, because I don't have to imagine. I know what it feels like. It feels really terrible if you're not used to it. So, but Shufu shared this story during the 100-day chant session. Yeah. So during Shufu's time, he didn't mess around. Okay, so he said this. It's not a story. It's actually a true encounter. She would say during the Tang Dynasty, there was a person with a family name of Chun Yu, and his surname was Fen. And then he lived in a place, Shantung, and in front of his house, there was a Japanese pagoda tree, and he would always go and drink and then get drunk and fall asleep under the tree. So one day he had a dream. Okay, and she would say, what was his dream? So he dreamt that 2 officials came to escort him away. basically he was, you can say he was kidnapped. Where did they bring him? To a kingdom called Nanki. Is that how you pronounce it? Nanki. Upon arrival, the king of Nanki liked him so much that the king married a princess to him. Okay, immediately became a member of the royal family. The king then appointed him as the governor of Nanki province. Not bad, right? As dreams go. And then he held the government position for more than 20 years. Okay, so in a dream, I'm not sure about you all. Has anyone had a dream where 20 years go by? That's I think that's more than a dream. Anyway, or if anyone has, like had a whole lifetime or at least a few years in your dream, or you grow old in your dream, please share in the comments. So the king became, or not only 20 years, all right, he also had 3 sons and 2 daughters. Okay, that's not the dream, that's a life. All right, so the king was particularly fond of him and would consult or even meet him in person for specific matters. So she says, so he was at the peak of his glory. That means very good life. But it didn't last long. The princess, his wife, died of an illness. Then after he buried her, says a place that looks like a coiled up dragon. And then when he returned to the palace, the king no longer treated him well. Okay, and then not only that, people would also gossip about and slander him. Yeah, not sure why. Maybe it has to do with the manner in which the wife passed away. Okay, so this is a drama. So Shifu says at that time, another kingdom came to attack Nanki. So he set out to war with his troops, defeated them, and returned home triumphant. Triumphant. That means he was victorious. But despite being victorious, the king did not believe him. Can you imagine his bad luck? Later on, the king even ordered his arrest and sentenced him to be beheaded in public. Just as the knife was about to decapitate him, he woke up from the dream. So you must wonder, and he was dreaming all this. Did he realize it was a dream? Probably not, right? When we dream, how do you know? Most of us don't know that we are dreaming. I like, what do you mean in the chat?
Actually, it's a Chinese idiom. It's called 南柯一梦.
What idiom is that again?
It's called 南柯一梦. Nanke is the country, and 一梦 is the dream under the Nanke.
Oh, so this is like everyone knows about this story?
Yeah, it's a really famous story.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. Okay, so in his dream, he was going to die. Okay, he said he was going to be chopped off, but he woke up. Okay, and after waking up, I guess because the dream was so real, he immediately went to look for the places he had been in his dream. Then in his search, Shufu says he realized that this kingdom was in fact the tree at his front door. At the south-facing side of the Japanese pagoda tree, there was an ant hole and an ant king, all right? Or maybe ant queen. The queen is the king, I guess. Or maybe, okay, anyway, I'd better not try to be too smart since I don't know. Shufu says the ant king had 4 other ants surrounding and protecting it. And then once this man saw the ant, he immediately knew. He said, oh, so this is the king of Nanki. Then apart from the 4 ant generals, he went looking for his wife, his ant wife. He found an ant hole in a branch on the same side of the tree. And then in the hole, there appeared to be a dead ant buried in the soil. So this is in the branch. This is probably that that dragon coil thing. And then upon closer inspection, he realized that, oh, this dead ant was his wife, the princess. Then he went to look for the kingdom he waged war with and found yet another hole with lots of dead ants inside. All right. He then thought to himself, life is like a dream. What's that song? Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat. Life is but a dream. Yeah, there you go. So he told himself, he said, these events are just formation, existence, decay, and emptiness. He experienced all that in a single dream. Says there's nothing to be attached to. In my dream, I was an official for 20-something years and had 3 sons and 2 daughters, but I have nothing now. Everything is empty. So guess what did he do? Like every self-respecting person, after living 20 years, have a wife, children in a dream, you become a monk. And then his dreams stopped after he started cultivating. Then Shufu says, therefore, I often say that life is like a dream, but if someone told you that, you would never believe them. Yeah, only when you die, you'll probably find out. Okay, so Isabella says the idiom is used to express the fleeting and illusory nature of life's glory, wealth, or power. How success, prosperity, and even human existence itself may feel like nothing more than a dream once it passes. There you go. Thanks, Isabella. Says sometimes it is used with a tinge of regret, reminding us that what seems substantial may vanish like a dream. Yes, very good. Thank you. So, okay, so think about this. Imagine you are one of the most powerful person on earth, or you're one of the richest, or one of the most famous, or you can combine all three. You're the most famous, richest, and one of the most powerful. And still, it is nothing compared to any of the gods in the heaven or the 4 kings, which is the heaven closest to us. Their riches, their blessings far surpass. Even the food they eat, nothing on earth can come close to how nice their food is. So they are looking down, okay, on earth, and they look at this person, who is like the top monkey in the forest, except you're a human being. And this person is so proud of himself or the things that he has achieved. But from the Deva's point of view, your lifespan is very, very short. And you are so proud of yourself for all the things that you achieve, but it is nothing compared to the pleasures that they get in the heavens. And yet this person who is so rich acts like they are, like they are number one in the world. And if they practice, if they follow the Dharma, then it's fine. That's what riches should be used for. Your blessings, you use your blessings to plant more blessings and to create more merit. But if you just follow what everyone else does, then it's such a waste of time. So that's what exactly this Nanki idiom means. Okay, all right. Now, actually, there's more slides to this. Maybe one more slide. Yeah, this is the last slide. So Shufu says, once you have awakened, you will realize that life is but a dream. It is just like this guy, Chen Yu, Fen Chen Yu. He became the king's son-in-law, the governor of the province. He went to war with another kingdom, oblivious that it was all a dream. He only awoke when he was about to be executed. And then after waking, he was able to see through it all and let go of everything. How did he do that? Well, because his dream was so real. So when you have a dream that's so real and then you compare it to your so-called when you are awakened and you realize what's the difference, right? What's the difference? The only difference is how you see things. So you realize that everything is illusory and false and was no longer attached to anything because impermanence has a way of doing that to people. Okay. Now, does anyone have any questions at the moment? No? No? Yes? Okay. Anyway,
Actually,
yes, Alec.
so he became an ant. Is that right? Or he took on the persona of an ant.
I don't
It
know.
seems like
I don't know. But from the story, you could say that what is the life of an ant?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Maybe when you are born as an ant, that's how you experience life. But I don't know. Yeah, that one. I don't think that's the principle that the story wants us to take away. Although that's is a very interesting thought. I think the principle of the story is to examine if our life is a dream, right? Because a dream doesn't last very long. Do we last very long our life? In our dreams, we take things to be real. We don't question the reality of our dreams. Do we do that when we are awake? Because in our dreams, we assume everything is real, and we actually live our lives in our dreams like it is real life, right? So I think that's the thing we want to examine. Okay. All right. Now, this is Shufu's commentary or simple commentary on Great Master Yongjia's Song of Awakening. So there's a line in Venerable Yongjia's poem or song that says, dreams are fundamentally illusory. Okay, what does he mean? Actually, there's two meanings. Dreams, as in actual dream, okay, sleeping dream, but also from the sage's perspective, we are all in the dream right now. From their point of view, there's no difference. When you wake up, you will realize the same thing. So Shufu says they usually arise from false thoughts, but some are real. What kind of real? Says there are many types of dreams. Some are false, some are real, and some are visions of the future sent by a spirit or a ghost. So you may say that dreams are false, or you may say that they are real. Okay, it's all just a matter of perspective. Says, however, whether they are real, false, or predictions, they are not tangible. Okay, they're not tangible. You can't record them. Okay, Shufu says you can't hold on to them, see them, catch them, or send them away. That's what dreams are. You can't record your dreams. There's no way to play back your dreams. There's nothing to hold or touch to. Now, let me see. Okay, so if you look at the chat box, Isabella has shared another version of the story. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so Shufu goes on to say, in some cases, what you have encountered during the day appears in your dreams at night. So some dreams are related to what you have thought about before. Okay, then some dreams are about things you have never thought about or encountered before. So they seem to be new. Yet the states suddenly appear in your dreams and turn out to be true later. Okay, people who dream of numbers, yeah, they really hope this is true, because what you do, you can buy the numbers and you pray really, really hard that your dreams come true. Since Shufu says, you may call these true dreams. Even though they may be true, they still cannot be grasped or renounced. You cannot catch them, nor can you send them away. They may also be omens of things to happen. You may have a dream, maybe a year, a month, or a week in advance. In that dream, you encounter certain situations, people, or events, and when the time comes, those things actually happen. Shiva says this is what is that? A flutters, inspiration based on things to come. So a flutters, the official. At first I thought it was a typo, because until just now I never come across this word before, but it means a divine creative impulse or inspiration. Okay, a divine inspiration. So divinative in this context, it means divinative. You can the dream is of the future. And Shufu says most of these inspirations are related to your past lives. Because you cultivated before, some Dharma protectors and wholesome spirits come to help you by giving you a hint to awaken you. Okay, for example, you are a layperson, yet in your dream you are a monastic wearing a yellow robe and a patriarch's sash, taking on the appearance of a great spiritual teacher. Shiva says you are not a monastic, so how can you become one in your dream? Perhaps you were a monastic in a previous life, but because you are deluded in this life, some Dharma protectors and wholesome spirits quietly give you hints so that you become awakened. In other words, they think you're wasting your life. Yeah, they think, oh, this person has so much potential, but what are they doing right now? They're totally wasting their life. They have to do something about it. So things like this, okay, don't just happen in dreams. For example, Rama Hengshue, when he was bowing before his 3 steps 1 bow, he suddenly had a vision of him bowing by the sea. I think he said he could also smell the sea or hear the seagulls or something. It was a very strong vision. And then when he asked Shifu, Shifu said, "Oh, the time hasn't come yet." That's Shifu's reply to him. For some other people, it doesn't come as a vision. It comes when you meditate, and we'll come to that later when we talk about Earth Star. Oh, actually, it's the next slide, when Earth Star Bodhisattva. Okay, so Shifu says, then you realize, oh, I was a monastic in my past life. I should again resolve upon Bodhi and cultivate. It will be good for me. Yeah, this is when your Dharma protectors get fed up with you because, you get reborn and you forget everything and they can't wait for you anymore. Yeah, so it's the equivalent of giving you a good kick, but of course not painful and full of compassion. Then Shifu says the same principle may apply to other dreams. However, although we know that dreams are illusory, are we truly awake when we are not in a dream? Okay, so something to think about. So if any of you, okay, has dreamt or had a vision or whatever it is that you were a monastic in your past life, well, I hope you get the hint and can overcome your habits of your attachment of whatever it is that you're attached to. Okay. So in Shufu's talks on Dharma, Shufu talks here, he's referring to Earthstop Bodhisattva. Shufu says, everything a Bodhisattva does is sincere, devoid of the slightest trace of hypocrisy. That means they are very true. Whatever they say or say in the sutras, they do it themselves. And they also want the same for you. So Earthstop Bodhisattva has the greatest vows. He has said, as long as the hells are not empty, I will not become a Buddha. Only when all living beings have been completely liberated will I become a Buddha. Okay, when you read this, I think at least for myself, when I first read this, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's what a Bodhisattva is supposed to do, and that's it. It was just words on a page. But then, there's a different perspective that you can take. And it means that Earthstop Bodhisattva believes in you. He believes in you so much that even if you fall into the hells, he will come and save you. You know who falls into the hells? Only people who deserve to fall into the hells fall into the hells. That's how they fall into the hells. There's no one who pushes you into the hell. There's no one who drags you down into the hells. You create your own karma to go to the hells. Yet, and most people, okay, in most normal people, if you know what someone has done, that kind of deeds, you would not want anything to do with them. You run far away from people like that. Why? Because they're not good people at all. They're terrible people. That's why they fall into the hells. But can you imagine if you are someone like that and you realize, oh, I made a mistake, but it's kind of too late. But here comes someone who believes in you. He believes in you so much that he will not forsake you. You have to see it in a different way. So that's Earthstop Bodhisattva. He believes in you so much, okay, no matter what you do. Okay, no matter what you do, even if your karma brings you to the worst of places, because that's what you have done for yourself, even if the entire world were to forsake you, he does not. Okay, that's why he made that vow. All right. So Shiva says, what a compassionate spirit, and it's true. So this Earth Store Bodhisattva cares tremendously about us living beings. So even if we fall to the lowest places, he will not forsake us. Why? Because he believes that that we in the future we can become Buddhas. And in his heart, he tells himself, if he doesn't save you, who else will? Not your parents, not your children, not your brothers or your sisters. So he takes the responsibility upon himself. Okay, there's great compassion. Great compassion, Mahakaruna. What distinguishes Karuna from Mahakaruna is that the scope of compassion encompasses everyone. Okay, there is no favorites. Everyone is your favorite. And number two, you see yourself as responsible for removing the suffering of living beings. Okay, so from that aspect, Guanyin Bodhisattva, Earth Store Bodhisattva, the Buddhas, they all share Mahakaruna. They all share the same characteristic, which is great compassion. Okay, so Shifu says, if someone has faith in Buddhism and applies effort in cultivation, okay, so this, if you wonder if you can see Earth Store Bodhisattva without falling into the hells, yes, you can. All right, by having faith in Buddhism and applying yourself in your practice, Earth Store Bodhisattva will appear in your samadhi or your concentration or your dreams, and it will communicate with you. He'll tell you what you need to do, how can you improve, or what you need to know. Okay, right. Any questions at this point in time? Anyone want to share anything? No? Yes? Okay, then we come to a question. Can we create karma in a dream? So can it get full marks? Because Shofu says the things we do in our dreams do not count as karma as long as you do not do them when you are awake. Okay, so don't go and do stupid things in dreams, and then when you're awake, you get so used to it, you also do them. Then Shofu says, however, we cannot generalize this. So it's not a, you can't say in every case it's always the same. So Shiva says, if you want to have a dream and create a lot of karma in it, you are creating an offense. All right? Beware of that. Some people look forward to dreams. They think that, oh, it's a whatever it is. So Shiva says, no, you are creating an offense. If you do not have the thought of creating karma in the dream, the things you do in the dream are not offenses. What does that mean? Well, when you react out of habit, it's not calculated. It's not based on how you say, like when you murder someone in the US, they call it premeditated or mediated. I don't know that word. Can someone help me? When you plan a murder or when you do something and it results in someone else dying, it's unplanned. So it's different. Though the charges are different and therefore the penalties are also different. Yeah, something like that. So Shiva says, as for having, Shiva says, if you do not have the thought of creating karma dream, the things you do in the dream are not offenses. As for having the thought of creating karma when you are awake but not doing it, that is delusion, not karma. Okay, so you just think about doing it, but you're not doing it. So let me see. Randy had this question before. Like sometimes there are certain thoughts that come up, and what does that mean? So Shufu says when you just have thoughts coming up, but you don't act on those thoughts, that is just delusion. You're not creating karma. All right. Then there's another question. Someone asked Shufu, who says they have been dreaming often lately, and in these dreams, this person has great spiritual powers and he kills many visible and invisible living beings. So maybe he thought that it was a very good dream, and Shufu says, oh, no, you have a strong tendency to kill, you better repent sincerely. So it means that your habitual energies of killing are so strong that it comes up in your dreams. So nothing to be proud of. Okay, now let me see. Okay, now I have another story. All right. Let me show you. Okay, so this is taken from the records of the life of Shufu, and this is a compilation of a lot of stories. Shufu talked about his earlier life in China before he came to the US. So there's a difference between the stories that Shufu told for Asian and Western audiences. And that's why when I'm not sure what books have been published. If it's for a Western audience, you may not find stories like this published because they lack the context, the right context to appreciate certain stories. Anyway, in this story, Shufu says he took in a young disciple who was very destined to be with him. And he joined Shufu in monastic life. His name was Go. Yeah, anyway, which means his future will ascend to the Western paradise, to the Pure Land. How does Shufu know this? Shufu says when he was meditating, he knew that a child was coming to ordain as a monk. And that Shufu knew he was chubby and looked very good. Then true enough, the next day, then the next morning, 5 a.m., probably after the morning ceremony, which usually is at 4, Shufu told one of his senior disciples, he said, okay, watch out, a child will come to ordain today. When he comes, come and quickly let me know. Then sure enough, by 1 o'clock, the Shufu senior disciple, also from Shantung, came over panting and said, Master, the child you mentioned has really arrived. Then she would say, where is he? He said, oh, in the kitchen. So when Shufu went to the kitchen, he found a 12-year-old boy who was dressed in tattered clothes, that means poor, with a crooked neck and white eyes. The child looked at me with a special expression on his face. What kind of expression? Like he hadn't seen his relative for a long time and had finally met them almost on the verge of tears. Okay, so some of you, okay, who has met Shufu, know what Shufu is talking about. All right. So, okay, so Edwin says that premeditated murder gets you a higher punishment because you actually took the time to plan the murder as opposed to a heat of the moment kind of situation, like someone makes you angry and then you hit out and then the person dies because you punch him but you didn't intend on killing him, yeah, something like that. So premeditated murder is you plan it out, let's not talk too much about murder, but that's the difference. Okay, now, thank you, Edwin. So Shufu asked the young boy, are you here to become a monk? He said, yes. And Shufu says, why do you want to become a monk? And the boy says, well, his home is about 1,000 miles away. Oh my, not easy to travel during that time. And he says he had 3 consecutive dreams where a fat monk told him that if he wanted to be healed because he was sick, he had to come to the Sanyuan temple and find Master Ansi. So Ansi is one of Shufu's names. Shufu has many names, and Ansi is one of them. So he said in his dream, he's supposed to come to this temple, find Master Ansi, become the disciple, and become a monk so that his illness will be cured. So sometimes some people, one of the reasons something like this can happen is because sometimes people come back to fulfill certain vows. And because they have forgotten about their vows, then certain things happen, like an illness manifests to as a, how you say, it's like a sign, it's like a direction sign to point you in the right direction, because it's your own fault. You make those vows in the first place, so it's actually a very good thing. But normal people who don't understand all this, they say, oh, such a poor, unfortunate child, he has to die, and the only way to save himself is to be a monk. It's like one of those old movies where why people become monks or nuns, because your husband died or your wife died, or they found another person and they left you, and you are so sad and you find life so meaningless that you shave your head to become a monk or nun. Actually, that's what someone asked me before. someone on the bus. This old, I was coming back from Singapore. This old lady who loved to talk and talk and talk and talk. Oh my God! I had to put on my headphones to show her I wasn't interested in talking anymore because there's only as much as I could take. I can only be polite for so long. And she said, "Oh, why did you become a monk? Did your wife die or something?" I was like, it's like, how I was speechless. Yeah. Anyway, that's what most people think, right? I don't know. She was not a Buddhist. She was a architect, suppose that's what she told me, very famous architect in Singapore, trying to impress me about how much property she had, how rich she was, blah blah blah. But she was on the bus with me. So anyway, where was I? Okay, so Shufu asked this young boy, says, "Do you know Master Hansi?" And he said, "No." Then Shufu likes to tease. Says, "If you don't know him, how will you find him? We don't have such a person here." Okay. Then the boy said, "There must be such a person. When I entered the temple, I saw the fat monk sitting at the temple entrance. That person in the hall is the one who appeared in my dreams and told me to come here to ordain." So Shivu says he was referring to Maitreya Bodhisattva. So Shivu says, "I don't know if your dream is real or not. I see you are poorly dressed. Is it because you have no food or clothing and you've heard that monks are supported and don't have to work, so you want to become a monk?" Then Shivu likes to test people. And then the boy said, "No, I really had 3 dreams. I'm coming to become a monk because of my illness." So Shivu says the child whose surname was Pan, family name, says could treat illnesses by the age of 5. This was before he met Shivu. When he came to Shivu, he was 12 years old. So this tells you that in his past life, he was a cultivator. So he could treat illnesses with the help of fox spirits and snake spirits. And then Shiva says in his past life, he was a shaman known as a jumping god in northern China. Or what is that? Can someone help me pronounce it properly? The one in Taiwan. Okay, if someone can help me pronounce. And those demons came to him when he was 5, so he had the ability to heal. He could cure some illnesses, but not others. People called him Little Demon as he had an unruly spirit and lacked discipline. By the age of 12, he himself became ill. He had stomach pain, but he could not heal it. He traveled over 1,000 miles to my temple alone, taking more than a month. At that time, Japan had just surrendered, and he found Japanese weapons left unattended in an armory along the way. He picked up 2 grenades and played with them as he walked. At night, he slept in the wilderness and was attacked by a pack of wolves from all sides. He was not afraid and said to the wolves, "Good friends, you are here. If you come here, I'll give you an egg to eat," meaning the grenade. Grenade. The wolves were frightened and ran away, perhaps scared of the grenades in his hand. And then Shufu says, Shufu so always like to test people. So Shufu picked up a steam bun from lunch, bit into it, and threw it on the ground with both the saliva and the bun. And then Shufu told him, "If you want to become a monk, eat that first." So Shufu says, "Yes, he wanted to test the boy." So the boy looked at Shufu with a crooked neck, then squatted down and ate the bun from the ground, regardless of the saliva and the filth. So Shufu saw that he was trainable and could be developed and said, "Good, I'll let you ordain here." And guess what? After he became a monk, his illness disappeared. So this young boy was Shufu's youngest novice monk. Yeah. So he carried a fan every day, resembling Qigong. Can someone tell me who is Qigong? And then Shufu says within less than half a year, he acquired the 5 eyes and 6 powers and had significant abilities. Shufu took him around to treat people. And Shufu says his origin is known in China's West Lake Lingyin Temple. There is a Qigong, and this child is a reincarnation of Qigong. Am I pronouncing it right? Does anyone know? Can someone help?
Yes, actually, it is Qigong.
Qigong. Can you look up a picture on Google or something? Then send me the link.
Okay.
All right, thanks. Then she says, once we visited Cheng Shiren's home, Mrs. Cheng wanted to investigate my background. So people are, sometimes very capo, very busybody, and asked the boy. He said, "You are so young, yet have such great abilities. Does your mother have abilities as? Does your master have abilities as great as yours? I've known your master for a long time, and I haven't heard of him having spiritual powers." Okay, let me see if I can increase. Okay, you all see that? He is, let me see, Living Buddha Qigong was a famous Chinese Buddhist monk from the southern Song dynasty. This is from the year 1130 to 1209. He was ordained as a monk in the Lingyin Temple in Hangzhou, and then he had a very unconventional style. He says, unlike most monks who observe strict discipline, Qigong was eccentric. He wore tattered robes, ate meat, and drank wine. Despite this, he was deeply compassionate, often helping the poor and the oppressed. And then over time, he became celebrated as a folk hero and a saintly figure. Now, reminds me of how the Catholic Church have saints. Says people believe he had miraculous powers such as exorcising demons, healing the sick, and performing feats of strength and magic. Because he lived among common people and broke monastic rules while still practicing great compassion, he became known as the Mad Monk. Okay, maybe that's why they drew him like that. Okay, all right. Thank you, Alec. Okay, so this busybody woman asked the young boy about Shufu's powers. So Shufu says the boy carelessly replied to Mrs. Cheng. He said, "Oh, I haven't heard my master say so, so probably not." So Shufu says, after saying this, it was strange, but he lost his powers. So those evil spirits that had left him then returned and made him go mad again. So Shufu saw that his demonic illness had relapsed and he didn't want him to return to such practices. So Shufu says, "Oh, it's unreasonable. He's a monk under me, and yet demons and ghosts are still bothering him." So what did Shufu do? He fought with his fox spirits and the yellow spirits, the ones who came to the child when he was 5 years old. Then Shufu had another disciple, 13 years old, saw Shufu fighting with the spirits and then wanted to help. But Shufu says he was blown away by Coco, but I don't know what it means, blown away, and suffered severe stomach pain, almost dying. So Shufu not only had to save Coco, but had to save this other disciple as well. And it's 21 days, Shufu said. He offended many demons and ghosts, mountain spirits, water spirits. Shufu did not eat and sleep and finally cured his illness, and his 5 eyes could not open anymore. So, but his 5 eyes could not open anymore. Yeah, so this Shufu's disciple Koko. Okay, let me see what else. Okay, we don't have time to go into nightmares and ill omens or inauspicious omens, but what we do is Shufu talking about being in control. All right, control of what? Including dreams. So Shufu says, when we are clear-headed and mindful, we are able to stay in control. We will not be swayed by any external influences. This is not right now, when not sleeping, okay, but when in your normal state. It means when someone scolds you, when things don't go your way, they don't go as you want it to be, as how you plan it to be. You don't get that promotion, or you don't have, things just don't go your way. Okay, Shivu says if you are clear-headed or you're mindful, these things won't affect you. But if you are muddled, then you get easily affected. And why is that? It's because of our ignorance. All right, but if you can stay unaffected by any states when you're muddled, then you're not confused anymore. Then Shuo says, however, you could still be affected by states in your dreams. So some of you are like this. You realize that over time, because you've held the precepts, you have changed. okay? But in your dreams, you realize that your bad habits are still there. This happened to me before. Um, Let me see. Before I took the precepts, it was very difficult because I couldn't give up eating meat. It was so difficult for me to give up eating meat. I remember the few days leading to me taking the precepts, I would order, I don't know, I can't remember. I think maybe 20 pieces of fried chicken from Kentucky Fried Chicken. I would order 5 or 6 burgers on different days, not on the same day, on different days. And I would make sure I eat and eat and eat until I get so full, hopefully to cure my attachment to food, to meat. Then I went to take the 5 precepts. And then after taking the 5 precepts, okay, I had a dream. In my dream, I wanted to eat this particular dish. It's called bak kut teh. All right, if you're Malaysian, you know what bak kut teh is. It's a soup-based dish. It's a very simple dish. It is herbal soup with pork. The traditional dish does not have anything else except herbs, water, pork. That's it. And rice. You eat it with rice. The modern version has people adding mushrooms and all kind of stupid things, which the original version does not have. All right. So in my dream, I wanted to eat that, and that dish has is I wouldn't say it's special, but when I was young, every weekend I would go with my father, and he would have his favorite shop, and we would eat. So it was a bit of a ritual when I was young. So in my dream, guess what? I wanted to eat that dish. But, okay, to give myself some credit, okay, I wasn't totally hopeless. In my dream, I remembered that I took the precepts. So not bad. In my dream, I told myself, oh, I can't eat because I've taken the precepts. Yes. So not bad, right? Yeah, that one I'm pretty proud of myself. But so I said to myself in the dream, okay, I can't eat meat, but there's nothing stopping me from eating my own meat. so, so I remember in my dream, I'm not sure if I did it or I did not. All I remembered was I was going to cut the flesh from my thigh so I could eat, so I could cook and eat bak kut teh. Yeah, so that was my dream. So I think this is what Shufu is referring to. You know, you could still be affected by states in your dreams, and you would be scared at the sight of ghosts or tigers, or attracted by the thought of bak kut teh, you know. Though you are not greedy when awake, you become greedy at the sight of treasures in your dreams. Yes, so that's what Shufu is talking about. And then she says you'll be tempted to take the jewelry in your dreams, thinking that if you don't take them, someone else will. It is then that greed arises. You will become greedy at the sight of beauty too. Or in my case, a particular non-vegetarian dish. So she says, even if you are in control in your dreams, okay, now we come to someone who is really in control of their dreams, okay, not looking for a loophole to cheat themselves. And unaffected by any state of mind, you might still be affected when you're ill, when you're sick. And this sick can be different kinds of sick. It can be body pain that causes you to lose patience, discomfort all over, or you could be in a state where you are delirious. That means maybe high fever and your mind stops working like how it normally does. So Shufu says you may be affected and not be in control then. And even if you can remain in control when sick, so even if you tell yourself, oh, I am fine even when I'm sick, I'm in control. Shufu says you may not be in control at the time of death. All right. So Shufu says when dying, you can't say I will die when I wish to and not die if I don't. We don't have that power. If you have such skill, you won't need to investigate chant or meditation and attend this meditation session anymore. So she was trying to invigorate the practitioner, the meditators. She says, if you investigate chant meditation, you will not have the 5 desires. Why? With the power of concentration or samadhi, you can reverse the states of having 5 desires so that you are no longer greedy for wealth, sex, fame, food, or sleep. You are not greedy for anything. You don't even have any thoughts of desire in your dreams. When improper desires are diminished, even your dreams become serene and pure. This is when the true benefits are realized. All right. Okay, so it's time to end. Does anyone have any questions? Let me show
What
you
are
a
the
picture of my...
true benefits?
Yes, Hui Min.
What are the true benefits that is mentioned in the last line of this slide?
Okay, let me see. This is when the true... Oh, okay. Well, you don't have the 5 desires. No longer greedy for wealth, sex, fame, food, or sleep. And that's a very advanced state. That means you can enter samadhi. And because of that, you can get enlightened.
Okay.
Big deal. Very big deal. Yeah. Okay. While waiting for other questions, let me show you this picture of that I took at my graduation. I like this picture because the wind is blowing my sash, make me look like very kung fu like. Yeah. And then let me see if I have any other pictures worth showing. No questions? Okay, let me show you this. Is Andrew with us today? Let me see, Andrew. No, is Sui Ling with us? Oh, okay, Sui Ling is with us. Sui Ling, is Andrew with us today?
Yeah, he's still sick, so he's sleeping early today.
Oh, he's still sick? Okay, all right. So this is Andrew next to the monk. Okay. This is Sister Neela, who arranged for the visit to the Buddha Tooth Relic Temple. Yes. This monk, I think I was told is the number 2 monk there or number 3. Anyway, he briefly was our guide. He took us around. He was introduced, Andrew was introduced, okay, he was introduced to Andrew by another monk in Malaysia at the T. Ratana Center. And then this is Sister Neela's husband. And so Sister Neela arranged so that we could go where this, okay, if you look in the foreground, you see these 3 bowls of rice. They are actually milk rice cooked in milk with raisins on top. So I was able to offer that, and honestly, I offer that on behalf of all of you, and in front of the in the Buddha Tooth Temple relic. And where is the relic kept? Okay, you see the 2 elephant tusks in the background, and you see that door. Inside that door is a room where the relic is kept in a golden, in a golden container. Yeah. So everyone, okay, every single person, I think there were maybe about 1,000 over people on that day. It was just a normal weekday. Can only stay outside here. That's why you have that table with the flowers and the offerings, because they can only leave the offerings there. Okay, you can't go into there. I think they were allowed to walk around the next to the door, but they couldn't go in the door. Actually, you're not even supposed to take photos of this place, I think, because when I wanted to take a photograph and I was the person, one of the people taking care of the place, he moved me to around. Let me show you. Okay, he turned me around. So the room is to my right, and but he turned me to face this direction so the photo wouldn't include that room. Yeah, so the photographer had to walk from my left to my right. Yeah, I hope you can understand what I mean. But Sister Neela arranged for us to actually go into that room. Yeah, it was very nice. We didn't get to see the relic itself because no one gets to see the relic. I think there was told there were there are 7 keys to opening the container, and 7 different people hold the 7 keys. But we were very, very close, so maybe about 4 or 5 feet away. And I think only 2 groups of people were allowed into the room. Yeah, and that's where I managed to make another offering of flowers and money on behalf of all of you all as well. So the merit is yours for you all to decide how you want to use the merit. Yeah. Does anyone have any questions before we transfer merit? No? Let me show you. Let me see if I have anything interesting. This is the entrance. This is the airport. When you get past the after you walk away from the aeroplane, I think before you collect your bags, I think, or after, can't remember. Anyway, it's very nice to see a Buddha in the airport. And, yes, Edwin.
I don't have a question, but it's more like wanted to share a little bit of it's not dreams. I think it's kind of like bad dreams that I get. So like sometimes I get these like sleep paralysis, and I've noticed the recent ones I'm able to think and recite Namo Guanchen Pusa, and then I hear this like kind of like a screeching, like something is mad, and then it's still, I feel like it's still holding on, and after I keep reciting, then it'll scream more, and then it's just I get out of my sleep paralysis. Just something I want to share, and I was really interested in hearing wanting to hear the bad omen and the nightmares, and so hopefully next week we can hear about some of that.
Okay, I've spoken about sleep paralysis ghost before. It's a specific spirit that causes it. And Shifu says they're attracted to yin energy. They're known as Kumbanda ghosts or spirits. Yeah, sleep paralysis spirits. Yeah. Yes, I can. I'll make sure I'll include that next week when we look at nightmares. All right. Thanks for bringing that up. Incidentally, okay, when I was a volunteer before I became a monk at the City of 10,000 Buddhas, we stay in the men's annex, which is a collection of maybe, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe about 12 buildings, 10 or 12 buildings arranged in a square with a courtyard in the middle. And so the men, most of the volunteers, we stay in Annex 1. Okay. As you enter Annex 1, from the Buddha Hall, we walk from the Buddha Hall direction into Annex 1. The first room on the left was mine. And then the last room on the right is a toilet. And then the last room on the left, facing the toilet, apparently, most people who stay in that room will experience sleep paralysis. Yeah, it was in the City of 10,000 Buddhas. So if any of you visit CityTB, and you get allocated a room in Annex 1, and if it's the last room on the left, the room facing the toilet, good luck, or try to sleep somewhere else. Okay? All right. Now I'm going to end this slideshow. Close the pictures. Oh, so many open. And get our dedication. Okay, today let's just do the Abhayagiri one, because that's what I have in front of me. Okay, I'm going to put my palms together. Through the goodness that arises from my practice, may my spiritual teachers, guides of great virtue, my mother, my father, and my relatives, the sun and the moon, and all virtuous leaders of the world, May the highest gods and evil forces, celestial beings, guardian spirits of the earth, and the Lord of Death, may those who are friendly, indifferent, or hostile, may all beings receive the blessings of my life. May they soon attain the threefold bliss and realize the deathless, through the goodness that arises from my practice, and through this act of sharing, may all desires and attachments quickly cease and all harmful states of mind. Until I realize Nibbana, in every kind of birth, may I have an upright mind, in mindfulness and wisdom, austerity and vigor. May the forces of delusion not take hold nor weaken my resolve. The Buddha is my excellent refuge. Unsurpassed is the protection of the Dharma. The solitary Buddha is my noble Lord. The Sangha is my supreme support. Through the supreme power of all this, may darkness and delusion be dispelled. Okay, let's do 3 bows to the Buddha. Okay, first bow. Second bow. Third bow. Half bow. Bowing respect to the Venerable Master. Second bow. Third bow. Half bow. Okay, everyone. We'll see you all next week. Amitabha.
Amitabha.